Hello, I'm Keenan Sparks.
Do you want to do a sound test first? Don't want to do all this.
Hello, I'm Keenan Sparks, and today I'm here with Simon Bird. He's the Director of Coaching at Oldham Soccer Club. Simon, why don't you tell us a little bit about what you do at Oldham Soccer Club?
Like Keenan said, I'm the Director of Coaching. I oversee both the select program and the recreational program in Oldham County. We have around 350, 400 players on the select side and another 400 or so on the recreational side.
Alright. So, what sports did you play growing up, and at what level did you play these sports?
I was obviously growing up in England a big soccer guy. I played soccer from probably when I was about 7 years old onwards. I also played quite a bit of tennis. They were my two main sports. Probably around age 14 or so, I sort of had to choose which direction I was going to go in, and obviously soccer was my main interest, so chose that.
Okay. And then, what levels did you play soccer?
I actually played at University of Louisville in 2001 to 2005. Then went back to England, played professional and semi-professional for 6 or 7 years, and then back to the States for another 3 years.
Okay. So today we're going to be focusing on the psychological impact of injury on sports. So first I'm going to start by telling you the 5 stages of grief that someone suffers when they go through an injury. They are denial, anger, bargaining, depression, acceptance, and reorganization. As a soccer player, or in general, throughout your athletic career, what injuries have you suffered while playing sports?
I suffered an ACL tear when I was just 14 years old, which is pretty young for that particular injury. Probably my hardest injury to overcome was a broken tibia and fibula when I was 22 years old, 23 years old, when I was playing professionally back in England. I've also had several muscular injuries, smaller injuries, but those were the 2 main ones, ACL and a broken leg.
Okay. And then, which of those injuries was the hardest for you to recover from?
I think for sure the broken leg, simply because it was at a stage in my career where I was a little older and it was very competitive level I was playing. And when I tore my ACL, I was 14, and obviously had my family around me a lot to help me through that, but I was probably too young and naive to even realise what the significance of the injury. But certainly when I was competing for places at 22, 23 years old at a professional level, it was a tough one to overcome.
Okay. And then during your injury with your tibia and fibula, what stage of grief did you most identify with? I can repeat them again. They're denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance.
I think initially was probably depression, because there was a time immediately when I was injured that I feared that I wouldn't play again. Was such the significance of the injury. Certainly anger, because I think on both the ACL and the leg injury, they were kind of out of my control. They were bad challenges on me, so it wasn't something that I had done. It was certainly anger towards the opposition player or players. So for sure those 2.
Okay. How did you remain positive during your injuries?
Having a positive support group is crucial. I was fortunate enough to have my family and friends and coaches as well help me through that process. There were times, like I said, where I feared that I wouldn't play again, but once that initial feeling faded and I focused on my goals and objectives, it was much easier. But having the support group was crucial.
Did you ever feel like quitting during your recovery?
No, I didn't feel like quitting, but there were certainly times where I doubted whether I could do it. But there was never a stage where I felt that I wanted to give up. It was just trying to erase those negative thoughts in my mind and stay positive throughout.
All right. You mentioned earlier that your parents were in your support system whenever you first tore your ACL, but who did your support system, who was it comprised of whenever you tore your ACL, or your tibia and fibula?
My coach at the time actually was a guy called Paul Mitchell, who was a former pro himself, and he had had a very similar injury back before they could really treat it as well as I got treated, surgery-wise, and he ended up having to stop playing, and I think he was a big person for me that sort of helped me through it and related to his experiences and basically reinforced that I shouldn't give up.
Okay. What kind of advice did he give you?
Basically to set goals and to be realistic and to understand that it is a long process. So I think if you understand that, it's you don't get as frustrated because it was a 10-month layoff. So having those realistic goals, and he was able to help me through it and provide me with not only a new contract, which gave me another year at the club, but also the opportunity to train with the training staff throughout the whole process.
All right. Because you have coached soccer and dealt with injury, what did you learn during your injuries that you could pass on if one of your players was injured?
To be there, to be in a supporting role, to encourage and help that player, particularly if they're a young player, have goals along their journey, because they don't just go from being injured to recovery. There's lots of steps in between, and basically pass on, I guess, my wisdom and my knowledge through the injuries that I've gained, and help them as much as I can.
All right. I think that's great advice, because in our class we talk a lot about goal setting and having short-term and long-term goals, and I think so that's good that you do that with your players. All right, I have a couple more questions left. What tips would you give any athlete who has suffered a major injury?
First and foremost, probably to not let negative thoughts into your mind, as our mind is sort of tuned into thinking negatively, and it's important to eradicate those and get rid of those and spin everything into a positive. On top of that, probably that although you can't physically train at times, the importance of the psychological side of sport and even things that helped me were even just watching soccer and learning about the game, and that's actually helped me later in life with coaching. That I think part of my game became better through injury, because I was able to analyse the game a little differently, and to assess what's going on the field from a kind of a coaching standpoint. And lastly, I would say to remain as healthy as possible. And one of the toughest parts of coming back from a major injury is that you come back, you pick up minor injuries, muscular injuries. So remaining healthy and working on other parts of your body while you're recovering.
Okay. And then this is my last question. What tips would you give the coaches of these athletes that have suffered an injury?
Again, just to remain a positive role model and a positive, give positive feedback and reinforcement. You're, as a coach, you're such an important part of their life as teachers in schools are. So to help them through the long haul, the process, and just be there as a coach and as a supporting figure as well.
All right. Well, that concludes my interview with Simon Bird, and I'd like to thank him and wish his Oldham Soccer Club good luck at regionals. They just won state about 2 weeks ago, so I want to wish them good luck this weekend.
Thanks.
All right. Thanks.